Of course the power went out the first time I tried to food prep in months. I used to do this every single week. It would take me like one solid day, but now with a baby and a toddler and I guess no power, this took me 3 days, but still so worth it. I find that my food prep changes dependent on the season that I'm in. At times it's been really like a meal prep, and at other times it's kind of like an ingredients prep. Right now it helps me to have like quick snacks, like a few things ready for like super quick eating that are fairly healthy, as well as the basics kind of like bone broth and bread. So day one of my food prep, blissfully unaware that I was about to lose all power, I started my sourdough, I got my beef bones blanching, and then I mixed up some granola. I've been adding buckwheat to it lately, which just gives it a really nice crunch and like nutty flavor and so many extra micronutrients. I love this granola because you can make it a billion different ways. The recipe is on my Substack and Patreon. Next step for the beef broth is to pour off the blanching water. So getting rid of this first like boil helps to remove any impurities and any kind of like funky flavors or smells. And then you roast the bones, which deepens their flavor and helps to get all the nutrients out of them when you're doing your actual broth. And this is when the power went out. There was a huge island-wide storm which hadn't even reached us, but I guess like it affected the power lines, and so kind of threw off my whole day. I still somehow managed to burn my granola even before the power went out, which was great. And then I overproofed my bread because we just got so distracted. So the next day I got back at it really early. It was stormy at that point. We had our power back, but I thought we would lose it at any minute. So first thing I did was blend up a ton of turmeric and ginger, which I have begun taking like a little shot of turmeric ginger juice every single morning to help fight inflammation and just help with like general immunity. I'm finding it so helpful. I'm already seeing results after like a couple of weeks. So I put a ton of that in the freezer in ice cubes and then the rest in the fridge to use like this week. I saw the sourdough through to the end, even though I knew she was not going to be in very good shape. Poor girl got far overproofed. And then I prepped some roast veggies for the baby. He's been ravenous lately, so I like to have these sticks in the fridge just so we can grab them anytime. He can hold them in his hands and eat them by himself, which is great. A new one on the roster is popcorn. A friend brought some over the other day and I was like, why am I not making this all the time? It's cheap, it's easy, it's snackish, it's healthy. I made 2 different batches. I'm going to make a whole separate recipe video for those because you need to know how to make it. It was eaten within like 3 days. So carrots, purple sweet potato, and parsnip for the baby went in the fridge. I like to roast them until they're like not like still a little bit firm, because if they're too soft he can just accidentally get like a giant mouthful and choke, After the beef bones had roasted for like an hour, I put them in the pot, cover them with water, and then you bring it to the boil and then turn it down to low and let it simmer for just like as long as you want, at least 12 hours, ideally more. One of my favorite things to prep is quick breakfast, so I can just get my day started fast, and I finally figured out how to make perfect egg bites. You have to add cottage cheese and you have to blend it, but not too much, just like a slight blend, and then you sous vide them. So you put the pan into another pan with hot water in the oven. I'll put that recipe on my Patreon for you. Lastly, I whipped up some oat and hemp milk. I haven't quite figured out the perfect recipe yet, so it's not great for coffee, but it works for everything else, and ultimately way cheaper than buying it from the store. It did make a huge difference prepping so much this week, even if it took a couple days to do it all. Only problem is I already have to do it all again.